The mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klichkó, has urged all Kiev residents to leave the capital because of the difficult situation. And it was this very post, right, in which the mayor proposed this. I appeal to the residents of the capital, those who have the opportunity to temporarily leave the city for a place with alternative sources of power and heat. Please do so. So this post has caused simply furious and extremely intense reaction across all social media. He's getting it from all sides and for a variety of different reasons, all directed at Klichkó for his incompetence, lack of preparation, siphoning off budgets, for the use of inappropriate wording, for causing panic, for absolutely anything. And most importantly, for how long is temporarily. And I like this one. A well-known political technologist, yes, and quite an odious one, Petrov, recorded this address to Klichkó. Let's take a look.
For how long should we leave Kiev? For a day, for 2, for 3, for the weekend, for a week, for half an hour. No specifics whatsoever. Just hysterical whining, you know. Get out of Kiev. I've already seen this from Vitaly Klichkó in 2022, when every day, like this, with trembling lips, he would talk about how Kiev was surrounded and everything was very scary. Calm down, Vitalik. Give a specific recommendation. Dear Kiev residents, leave for the weekend or leave for 3 days if you have such an opportunity. There's no need to frantically drive everyone out of Kiev. Calm down, take a pill.
Well, Petrov probably needs to take a pill too, but, well, I understand that this is an element of trolling right now and a very good political technological moment to just poke, you know, with a knitting needle, the mayor of Kiev, who is in disgrace, of course, with the president's office and with many other political forces. And there are actually reasons for it, but that's not the point. Look, how serious is the situation today, right? And is only Klichkó to blame for what happened, for this lack of preparedness? Politika Strani writes that, as our source in the energy market says, as a result of the attacks, several capital CHPs were damaged, in particular, Darnitska CHP4. It is operated by the heat supplier Euro Reconstruction, CHP6 in Troyeshkina, CHP5 in Vidubichi. It is the one that supplies heat to the Solomyansky and Holosivsky districts. The Russians have hit these facilities before, but then the main strikes were on the equipment that generates electricity. At the end of December, the tactics changed and the strikes began to be aimed specifically at the heat block. This time it was also badly damaged, says Yuri Korolchuk, an analyst at the Institute for Strategic Studies. Other experts report, for example, Ole Popenko, he is from the Union of Consumers of Public Utilities. What is he saying? He's saying that the water from the system will obviously have to be drained. This is another scandalous moment, but regarding the operation of the CHP plant, we'll talk more about the water in a moment. Regarding the operation of the CHP plant, well, how can you speed things up, or how can you be prepared if 30 missiles are flying at the CHP plant? So what is needed? To place a Patriot system next to each CHP plant and have Klichkó personally give the command on which missile to shoot down. So right now, instead of some kind of consolidation, instead of supporting each other, instead of just hearing each other out, helping each other, as Klichkó writes further, come on, neighbors, prepare baby food for those who need it, for those who already have electricity. Because on the left bank of Kiev, the situation is unclear as to how it will end. So we have, well, an absolute squabble, right? Here, for example, is another post. This is from Alexander Notevsky, who writes that he was the only one who read the call to leave Kiev on the Kiev mayor's channel. That is, he is already openly admitting that he can't do anything within his direct sphere of responsibility and that it's better for Kievans to just get out of here. What direct sphere of responsibility, Mr. Alexander? Please explain further to everyone. Well, you know, so what? Should Klichkó shoot down ballistic missiles or shoot down other missiles, or what is he supposed to do? No Kievans, no need to clean or sprinkle anything. Incredible managerial wisdom. Imagine if the government now told everyone to leave Ukraine because the energy sector is a mess and they simply have no authority. Well, actually, regarding the government too, you see, we are experiencing a lot of interesting stories, changes in the energy sector as well, and there is still no head of the ministry, friends, right? On the 13th, maybe some movements regarding all of this will begin. So now about the water. Well, you understand a lot of interesting things were thrown at Klichkó. But look, this is Ms. Belinska. Ms. Belinska, who has already sent all the children away and mobilized for the front, has now become an expert on water freezing in pipes. So what? Well, it's obvious, right? If you went to school, you understand that this danger exists, but you shouldn't comment on it all in this way. Her communication is worse than Klitschko's, but a team works for Klichkó, and knowing Klichkó, you understand that he probably meant not this, but something good. So the meaning of Berlinska's post, I just don't understand it. You just need to stop writing. Ms. Berlinska, just stop writing. In Kiev, they are starting to drain water from the heating systems. This is a direct consequence of the Russian Federation's attacks on heat generation facilities. Draining the water is a forced step. Without it, the pipes will simply burst and the heating system will be completely destroyed. This is knowledge of the laws of physics and mechanics from Ms. Berlinska. Okay, she should have stopped there, but no. Ms. Berlinska writes further. For us, this means one thing. In a few days, hundreds of thousands of people will not be able to stay in their own apartments. The points of invincibility are not designed for mass and long-term stays. They do not solve the full scale of the problem, but there are schools and social facilities in the city with individual heating points. They have heat. Ms. Berlinska is just talking to herself. Next. These premises can and should be used. I hope that the local and central authorities, together with their partners, will be able to immediately organize accommodation for families with children and people who need help in warm premises. This is not about comfort, it's about survival. I see. And regarding, well, all this water now, they are indeed draining it. This phenomenon now, I can't say that it concerns the whole of Kiev. Studying the latest messages, including from the KCSA, it most likely concerns mainly those facilities that are powered by CHP5 and CHP6. That is, this is the left bank of Kiev. The instruction is to drain water from the systems of buildings that are powered by CHP5 and CHP6. The repairs will last at least 2 days. And a clarification from the Kiev City State Administration. Draining water is a standard technical measure at sub-zero temperatures and does not mean a long-term absence of heat. That is, hundreds of thousands of Kiev residents will not freeze, as Ms. Berlinska writes. This is a situation, we understand that this is a reaction to an emergency, but the emergency was caused by a terrorist act of the Russian Federation. But this is a story that is now under control, right? And then it is explained to the citizens what exactly is being drained and where. Draining the water does not mean that the heat will be absent for a long time. This procedure is used even when the shutdown can last several hours or a day. These are safety requirements. Such government recommendations have been in effect in Ukraine for almost 20 years and are provided for by the rules of technical operation of heating installations and networks. So the recommendations have been in effect for 20 years. There's no need to spread all this panic from all sides. Regarding the comments of Popenko, this is, as I said, the Union of Consumers of Public Utilities. He says that the water is drained from the system so that it does not freeze. Popenko also says that if the water is drained, the system will remain empty, there will be no heating in the buildings, but the pipes will not be damaged, which will allow the system to be restarted quickly as soon as the repair work is carried out at the CHP. This process, according to Popenko's estimates, could take up to a month, even in normal conditions, but that's at positive temperatures. But everything will be faster considering the circumstances. Now, regarding the electricity, this also relates to Klichkó's remark that if you have the opportunity to leave, it's better to leave. With electricity, now we need to consider the situation. I myself also logically thought that right now, well, in fact, we're in the Christmas and New Year holiday period, and most large enterprises are not yet working at full capacity. If they start working after a strike like the one last night, it's obvious they will also need some electricity resources. And then the planned outages, not emergency ones, but planned ones, will also be quite significant. Another expert, Korolchuk, says that in the best case scenario, we will switch to a 12-by-12 schedule, meaning hours. There will be no electricity for half the day. But if there are new strikes, the situation could worsen significantly to the point where power will be supplied for a few hours once every 2 to 3 days. This is the most pessimistic scenario that can be imagined today. Yes. And basically, another factor that adds to this is the consumption, not of electricity, but of gas. People are starting to heat their homes with gas stoves, those who have a gas supply, and the pressure in the private sector, I'm already seeing it on some public forums, is starting to drop. This may be a consequence of Kiev residents in homes with gas stoves turning on their burners, ovens, trying to get warm this way. And in the suburbs, some consumers are connected not to the regional gas company, but to Kiev Gas. And that's why they are now experiencing the noticeable shortage of these resources. So everyone, I think, who is now in this situation, who is in the capital without electricity, heat, you can make a decision for yourself. But the most important thing, it seems to me, you can take it as just as advice or not as advice. You can just listen and forget. But still, even today, right now, you really need to carefully think about what is truly better for you and for your family. But in any case, do not give in to panic.